Growing a family legal team is very hard. If you are wondering how to create a clear growth path for your lawyers or for your own career, this show will answer those questions. It will describe a multi-step system for helping lawyers progress from an associate to a senior associate to a partner to a senior partner and ultimately to a managing partner. Well, hello and welcome to the J. Sterling Hughes Show, where we share how we have built our family law firm from 0 to 25 attorneys and 15 million in revenue, all in the past 10 years. And my purpose here is to document what's working and not working with hopes that you can take it and you can recontextualize it and create the family law firm of your dreams. I'm Jeff Hughes and I'm your host. And today I have a returning guest. Let me tell you, by popular demand, I might add, I have Robin Esch with us. She's our dynamic HR leader. And she and her team have created an incredible tool to give lawyers clarity on their career path within our firm. So welcome back, Robin.
Thanks so much, Jeff. I really appreciate that. It's so wonderful to be back here again.
Okay, so let me explain the context of this tool that Robin and her team have created. You know, over the past 10 years, we have scaled our law firm, as you know, from 0 to where we are today at 25 plus attorneys. The most difficult thing, if not the largest obstacle across law firms, is how do you bring in an inexperienced attorney and raise her up through mentoring, through coaching, and through training to become an effective attorney? That is really, really hard to do. And what Robin and her team have done is they've created a tool that has categories for each of those positions, each of our lawyer positions within our firm, starting with an associate, to a senior associate, to a partner, to a senior partner, and then also to a managing partner. So Robin, I know that you and your team have spent a ton of time building this tool. This is not something you sat down over a couple hours and created. I know this was years in the making. And also for any of our listeners out there that want to go download this tool and get our tool that we're using, that I'm describing here with Robin, you can go to jsterlinghughes.com. That's my family law practice resource site. Go to downloads, and within the practice tools, you'll find this particular tool. It is worth its weight in gold. Let me tell you, I know it's digital, but it is worth a ton. So Robin, let me go back to you here. First off, just describe the problem that we were confronting and how you and the team decided to solve that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So the problem is kind of at different levels. One of them is we might be hiring people with different skill sets and who are at different places in their career. Anything from a fresh graduate out of law school to someone who's been practicing for multiple years and maybe has some family law experience and everything in between. So experience can vary, amount, years worked in the field can vary. So that's kind of a problem number one, because each time we hire somebody, we're kind of reinventing the wheel, figuring out where they're at and where we're going. And what happens in that is the path gets a little bit windy. And so we're not really sure where we're going, what is the goal in this? And then we've got other people who are continuously gaining experience. And so we've got people at different levels doing slightly different things, and we're not really sure where anyone stands in the whole big picture. So that's one of the problems. Another problem is there's no clear career path in all of this. So what we found is that we maybe hired someone with no experience. They've been with us for 5 years and now they're off and running. And how did they get there? And what are their strengths? We're not even sure. We know maybe they're doing a lot of this particular type of cases, or maybe we see them being really outstanding in the consult room, but we're not really able to identify what that skill set is. So we've got people at different skill levels and different seasons of their career. And, most people want to progress. They want to grow, continue to grow. And the questions come up is, how do I get to be a managing partner? Or how do I get to the next level? And there's nothing really clearly defined there. And so what we decided that we needed is just a very objective way of gauging where people are and where they're going and how do we get them there. And really capitalizing on people's strengths to mentor and to teach and to train, and also identifying those areas that are more of a challenge area to them so that we can help them grow and get them the tools and the knowledge that they need to bring them up to the level that they want. So that's really what that came from, is there just really is just a lot of people in different places going kind of in the same direction, but we're not really sure how anyone is getting there.
Yeah, so let me just add to what you're describing. Your job is to execute on this and help the team grow. Like in our firm, we call HR team growth. So then you are the director of team growth. That's your job. As the leader of the firm, what I'm looking at is a different perspective on the same problem. So what I want to see is I want to see growth overall of our revenue of the firm. And as we move into new areas, let's say we open up a new office in Naperville, Illinois, for example, staffing that team with competent, really skilled lawyers has always been the problem that was so vexing to solve. We would hire 3 or 4 lawyers to get one that would have that kind of ability to lead and grow a team. And it's just really, really challenging. So that's another problem that I want to highlight that you and your team set out to solve as you did with this tool here. So Robin, first off, describe what the tool looks like for those who are in their car, can't go to the website and look at it right now.
Yeah, so the tool itself looks like a database is what it essentially looks like, with several different tabs on it. I'll give you the big picture first, and I'll explain what the little parts are. So in this kind of master matrix, we've got everybody's names, and we've got every competency in it. I'll give some more detail about that as well. So it's kind of like a big matrix is what it is. It's a kind of a glorified rubric, something that you would see like in college when you were given a course to do. But it is a dynamic kind of spreadsheet that you can go in between different perspectives, like each individual person has a tab, the manager has a tab, and all of these little pieces are linked. So what they're going to do is click a box like, I'm going to score how this person does in this particular competency. I'm going to click them at a particular level. It might be like beginner, intermediate, advanced, whatever level you want to call those. Ours goes kind of unskilled, skilled, master. So you can give those different names. And if someone is performing at the master level, we'll click that master, and it's all going to feed into a composite score at the end. So it's going to give a percentage. Also, there is another tab where you can filter by different views. So you can look at this if you want to divide people into competency and look at how people are doing at a particular competency. You can filter it out that way, and it's going to group it, and you're going to see a clear comparison between all the employees. You can group it by area. If you're in different regions and you've got different attorneys working out of different locations, maybe this attorney group is super strong in this one area, and that'll just be a way for you to identify, wow, they're in this region, they're really great in this. Like, what are they doing, and how can they help other areas who maybe aren't?
Let me just put a bookmark right there, Robin, because you're going through this so well, and I want to be able to kind of zero down a little bit here. So the competencies you're talking about, you have broken those down into legal practice competencies, just actually practicing law as an attorney. And then you've also have another set of competencies about the business of law. Is that right?
Yeah. So the foundation of this is really a one-page, what we call a competency rubric. So there are competencies that have been identified as being vital to practicing as an attorney. So one of the basic ones would be client contact. How is someone, involved with their clients? Are they reactive? Are they proactive? Do they adapt their communication style to that particular client? Another one would be comfort in courtroom procedure. Are they unprepared and disorganized? Are they professional and courteous? Do they demonstrate control? Are they able to read cues and to adjust their arguments strategically? That would be another one. Other one would be case management, how they're managing their cases, different levels of that. Are they proactive? Another one would be accuracy of quoting. So when they're meeting with a client up front or a potential client, are they able to really identify what's going on with the case and give them a very clear and accurate picture of what that cost might be to that person, so they have that information up front? Another one is how they're managing referrals. Where does their business come from? Is it provided to them primarily through the firm? Just a way to gauge, are they out there? What is their reputation looking like? Are they getting a lot of referrals? Are they relying on the firm to feed people? So these are all things that are given a specific measure in this competency rubric, this one pager that is provided to each attorney. So there's a very clear structure on what are these expectations? What are we looking at as a practicing attorney? And then what are the different levels of that? And then within that rubric, there's specific examples of what success would look like for that competency. So,
okay. So when an associate starts, and this is at the kind of the ground level of the firm. Let's just say someone just graduated from law school. They'll start essentially at the zero baseline for each of these competencies, okay? And then as the months and quarters pass, they're evaluated by the managing partner on each of these, right? They're told, okay, you're at level 1 here, over here you're doing well, you're at level 3, etc. Right? Okay.
Yes.
And then just to expand on that example, let's say we hire laterally. We bring in a senior associate that's got experience from another firm and they have experience in family law. How is that baseline initially established for them?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. And this is something that I think is really important, is there's a self-assessment component to that as well. So that the managers assess them, but they also assess themselves. So we would get someone in at that level and be able to say they could assess themselves as master at everything, for example, someone with a lot of experience. And we don't have a lot of experience working with that person. So then we would go to our training manual and we would say, okay, at a master level, these are the expectations, and start there. So that's going to be our baseline. Same with a new associate. We're expecting them to probably self-assess at a lower level because maybe they're fresh out of school or something like that. And then we have, along with the competencies, different kind of a training manual that complements that. So it might be, do you know how to draft these types of documents? Have this experience in the courtroom? Have you had these types of client relationships? So it's from the basis of drafting to meeting with clients to being in the courtroom, and specific things that will be measured. These are the little pieces that make up the competencies. So like a drafting a document or something. So we'll all start with that baseline of a self-assessment and then of a manager assessment as we see more performance.
Do you know how the gaps between the assessments are handled? So you can imagine someone would see themselves maybe in a different light than others see them. And so there's a gap in how they assess versus how the managing partner assesses it. How's that handled?
Yeah, really through conversations and training. And I think it's really taking a clear look because we've got this objective score. So each of these are given a value, and ours are the formula is based on how many competencies there are and based on the different levels. So we have 11 competencies. There's 3 levels. So like a perfect score would be a 33%. So that objectivity takes the subjectivity of an opinion out too. Wow. So if a manager is scoring, like the manager is like, hey, I got you at 33% on everything, but you've got yourself, like your overall composite score is like 22. Let's look at what makes that up. And let's talk about what are you feeling unsure about, and vice versa. Could be the other way too. Maybe somebody is really confident in something, but it's not really evident. That objective score really gives the opportunity to talk about what training might need to be shored up or what performance does. And it takes the personal, it removes that a little bit because it's not just the managing partner's opinion. Well, I think you're this. It just gives you that concrete objective score that is the foundation of those conversations to dig into that.
Yeah. Okay. So an associate will have a set of competencies that gets them to the associate level. Right? So when they've mastered these competencies, or at least enough of these competencies, is that when they are promoted to a senior associate, when now they have a whole new level, elevated level of competencies that they're to reach? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That is a piece of it. That's a big foundation in it. So we have some other factors too, and that we look at as far as it might be like a referral or a 360 review and just getting some general feedback. So there's some other pieces that will influence that, like promotion to the next level. But this is really the foundation of it, because without this foundation being solid, really nothing else is going to have much influence or matter as much as this is the basis of doing the job.
Well, hello, Jeff here. My team and I put out a weekly newsletter designed for family law practitioners to help you grow and build your practice. So if you go to my website at jsterlinghughes.com, that's Hughes, it's jsterlinghughes.com, and subscribe, it would mean the world to me. And what I will do for you there is I will send you weekly content to help you build and grow your practice, as well as news and developments in the greater world of family law. Thank you, and back to the show. One of the common disappointments or complaints about firms is when it comes to promotion, really any business, when it comes to promotion, there's so much subjectivity that is instilled in that, relationships, political connections, and all that within an organization. And it's almost impossible to avoid that when people get together, right?
Right.
And so have you found authentically, have you found that this matrix takes a lot of that out, where it's much more objective? Okay, now you're a qualified attorney to move to the next level, and congratulations, you've done it. Now here's your next path to pursue.
Yes, I can say that with a resounding yes. I just recently had a conversation actually with an attorney about this as well, because there was like some things that weren't real clear, or maybe some things that felt like moving targets.
Yeah.
And now that there's just these definite solid pieces in place, it just makes it seem more just, more fair across the board, and more clear. Like everybody knows it is from out the gate, you know what the possibilities are and what you need to do to get there. There's a clear path. And even kind of the other things that I had mentioned, that's all spelled out very clearly. Those things aren't identified in this matrix because this is more like performance and knowledge-based matrix. But any other external factor that contributes toward your promotion is very clearly spelled out as well.
Yeah. Look, I mean, just from my standpoint, looking back over our history, I can think of a few examples where attorneys have excelled on some of the more obvious measurements of success, but yet struggled with some of the legal companies, such as courtroom decorum, confidence in the courtroom, trial preparation, things like that are part of these competencies. And now having this tool helps us not weight these highly obvious things that everyone can see more than they should be, because we need to have lawyers that are well-rounded and do great with clients, and their client control is really strong, just as well as their collections might be, or their consult closing rates and that sort of thing. So that's been really good. So now I mean, you're not an attorney, you're an HR pro. And so it wasn't just you that put this together. So those that are going to download this tool from my site and use it in their practice, can you describe how it was developed, who all was involved with that? Hopefully give some confidence from the legal standpoint that we've had some high-level leaders involved with us that are lawyers, that are practicing.
Absolutely. That's a really good question. So this particular one for the attorneys really came with the competencies, and those types of things were identified by primarily our managing partners. They have worked together to identify what is important, what does success look like for each of these competencies. So I rely on the expert, kind of the subject matter expert in that particular field, to identify what is important, because I'm not an attorney, so I can't answer that question. But I mean, like, I can't answer what is important. I have an idea, but it's not going to be accurate. So really relying on the managing partners who've been practicing in the field and have been coaching people for quite a while, and have seen a lot of attorneys progress through different levels. So that's where the foundation of this had come from.
Good. And from a development standpoint, how long did this tool take to develop?
The competencies have been in the works for, that's been years that they've been there, they've been refined, and now we're kind of taking them into the next level and doing something with them. The tool itself, we started working on last year. And when I started, it was literally a rubric, like taking all this information and mapping it out as a rubric, like at a school. Part of my background is in education, so I absolutely enjoy doing these types of things. And then I worked with my team. So I have two women who I work with, and this is how it was developed. One of them is highly skilled in data and formulas, and so this is how it became kind of an active matrix. The goal is for a manager it's almost like a dashboard in a sense, to see where's everybody at any given moment in time, and to be able to filter those in different views. And then something else new that we just built out that I'm very excited about is the whole self-assessment component, because it was kind of a manual thing where someone would have to manage, taking each person's individual assessment and feeding that data into this master matrix. But they are connected now. So what will happen is, as an individual works on their own self-assessment, that automatically inputs into the matrix itself. And the manager can do it separately too. They can put their score in. It will all feed into this master matrix, give the composite score. That's where all the filtering takes place. But those two fields are locked down so that data can't be tampered with inadvertently, or someone can't accidentally go in and delete it. So those are locked. So now it's kind of this living thing, this document that I understand conceptually. I don't understand really how it works. I mean, I know what gets it there, but it's all just the interaction of these formulas that is causing it all to feed into the matrix. That's my not systems background explanation.
Yeah. I get it. Yep. From a practical usage standpoint, I know we've got 3 or 4 attorneys that are starting with us this coming spring when they graduate from law school.
Yeah.
And they'll come in, I'm just going to walk through the path here. They'll come in as an associate 1. And I know that the system designates that time frame about 0 to 4 months for them to pick up those first set of early competencies. And then they go to an associate 2, which is a 4 to 9 month sort of time frame expectation. And then associate 3 is 9 to 12 months. So assuming this is followed obviously perfectly, right? Ideal. We're not in that kind of world. But if we were, by 12 months, they then would be eligible to move in to become a senior associate. Is that how that's designed?
Yeah. And again, like you said, like if that is how it would move through, if someone was able to move through at that pace, definitely. And that helps the managers also ensure that they're getting the information that they need on a regular basis. So this helps keep things from getting away from people, and really helps managers to keep an eye on that so that they can help people continue to progress through this. I know that this is used linked in coaching documents so that it's when a manager is meeting with their attorney and having these conversations, however frequently, whether that's weekly or biweekly, this is always can be at the forefront, so they can always talk about, what have you done on your cases this week, and how does this impact your competency score here, and how are you doing with this? What's your experience here? So this will always be a really dynamic, active conversation foundation for that.
How often are these reassessed or updated? Is it individual to the attorney and the managing partner, or what's the pattern, do you know?
Yeah, right now it's individual to the attorney and the managing partner because it's in their coaching documents, so it can be referred to frequently. But to do an official assessment, I mean, my recommendation would be doing it at least monthly, if not more frequently, as they get up and running and have more courtroom experience, more documenting. That would be my suggestion, that they're looking at it regularly right now, but the more formal assessment needs to be done at a regular cadence. My recommendation would be at least monthly. Yeah.
So once an attorney moves into a senior associate, the next hurdle, the next milestone for them to get to would be that of a partner. And that typically is a years-long process to progress through that. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Because there's a lot more that goes into that. You got to be doing it for a period of time to get to that level of competency. Like referrals is one of them, because we see referrals as a data point for how well someone takes care of their client base, right? Because the more referrals, you got to assume that clients are confident enough to refer their friends and family. There's a level of service that they receive that they feel comfortable with and they feel excited about, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. But then it doesn't stop there. Your system has allowed for them to become partners, and then the next step would become senior partner, where there's a leadership expectation at that senior partner level that they'll take part in leadership with bringing others up with them, right?
Right. Absolutely. Yep. It does take that different turn into more of the leadership focus, correct.
So on our team, we have 2 managing partners out of 26 or 27 lawyers that we have now. And we also have a description around the competencies we're looking for at that level. And that's a very long process, obviously, to get there, because it requires a heavy emphasis on leadership ability at that level.
Yes.
Right?
Yep, it does. Yes.
So from a standpoint of responsiveness from our lawyers, what has been their general response for them to be able to look at a document that describes a really clear path so they can go from wherever they're coming in at as high as managing partner within the firm?
Yeah, I think it's kind of twofold. One is excitement about having a career path and knowing exactly what it takes to get there. And I think a sense of relief too, that you can look at it and see exactly what your expectations are. Just as an employee, just knowing, yeah, these are my expectations. There's not a moving target. The rules aren't going to change. And also a sense of collaboration, because now you're working, you have these very specific goals and you can consistently measure where you're at. It comes across like, I would say it's a very collaborative with your managing partner. Like someone is like lifting you up and promoting you to go forward. Like we want people to be successful. And I think because there's a clear path forward for that success and someone is coming alongside of you and not just telling you, but you're also assessing yourself, it becomes more of a two-way conversation, more of a two-way, a collaborative way to reach success, because we want them to be successful. They want them to be successful. And it keeps you on the same page. And I think it helps to preserve that relationship with the manager too, because there's no surprises there. Like this is, you've got the foundation, you're moving in the same direction and on the same page.
There's a fundamental sense of fairness.
Yes.
And that my future is within my control.
Yes.
That's so, we all know that the biggest demotivator in business is lack of clarity. And this gives so much clarity to our lawyers. One other thing that I've observed from my vantage point is that, as you know, throughout our history, when we've had attorneys that have not been performing well, we've had to let them go.
Yes.
And since implementing this, what I have observed is that whenever a lawyer is not meeting the competencies, they have a tendency to simply raise their hand by saying, I'm not a good fit. I'm going to go find something I'm a better fit for. And it allows for those exits to be so much more, collaborative than a top-down, you're gone sort of a conversation.
I agree with you 100%. Yep, it does. It makes it seem more clear, like more of a, this isn't a good fit for me. This isn't how I want to function. Maybe they have a different career goal, but now they have a clear picture of where we're going. And the expectation is we're going to get there together, but they have to take ownership of it and take the lead of it, because if they don't want it, we can't make them go there.
Right.
So then someone can easily identify, well, you know what, this isn't a good fit for me, and make that decision.
So in closing, for our listeners, I was going to point out two things regarding this. One, if you're not in a leadership position within your firm, I would encourage you to download this tool from my site, because it is going to give you a really good, strong path for you and your own growth and your own career to advance in your current firm, if your firm doesn't have something like this. And secondly, if you are in a leadership position in a firm and you're wanting to grow your firm, this is the coup de grace, okay? This is not a sexy tool. This isn't like you're getting 1,000 hits a day on your YouTube site. That's not what this is about, where everyone can see that this is the nuts and bolts type of strategy and set of tactics that you can use to actually scale and build and grow your legal team. So it's a fantastic tool. Robin, you did an amazing job putting this together. I know you're continuing to adapt it, and our firm is relying more and more on it. I know that our MPs use it as a wonderful management tool and as a clarity tool. I'm looking at it as a tool to solve one of the most vexing, long-standing problems of scaling our firm, and that is growth of our legal team that is above the average, right? That's what we're trying to get to. So thank you for doing this. And again, if anyone wants to look at what you've done here, go to my site, jsterlinghughes.com, download it. It's all up there for free. Thousands of hours probably gone into building this tool. We're giving it away to help other firms grow their practice. So thank you, Robin, for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Awesome. If you found this video helpful, check out this video, Dominate Family Law with a Great Hiring Process. See you over there.